This week, I lose my patience with almost everyone I talk about. I know I'm the epitome of the armchair general sometimes, but as you'll notice, no arms are on the seat. But in all seriousness, this week will be remembered for its mistakes and lapses of judgment, so please join me as the Civil War turns absurd. The first thing this week is from the delusional Georgia legislature. They passed a resolution expressing confidence in Davis. This isn't the deranged part. It also suggests that after the next rebel victory, send a peace proposal to DC. Before you think this is a compromise with Lincoln, they specified the requirements for peace is total Southern independence and self-determination for the border states. So really, they want to just restate their demands. Now for the fight of the foolish, I mean the Red River Campaign. The 19th has Major General Nathaniel I don't know how militaries work. Banks' cavalry arrive in Alexandria, while Banks himself is about a week away. Luckily, not every leader has been lobotomized. Sadly, that includes Confederate commanders. Lieutenant General Richard Taylor isn't just good at his job, he is gifted. Likewise is the impressive Union Commander General Joseph A. Mower. Mower sees an opportunity. General Smith, his superior, has ordered him to probe the North, where he learns from several Union sympathizers an exposed rebel force. This is Colonel William G. Vincent's 2nd Louisiana Cavalry and the 1st Texas Battery. But upon inspection of the southern line, it isn't exposed, instead being well dug in. Now Mower has a division that could easily overrun the messy rebel regiment, but that could be costly. He could be reinforced and siege the small secessionists. But Taylor could support Vincent also. He instead listens to another patriot, who offers Mower an interesting proposal. He offers to go between the rebel pickets and figure out their countersign. The words or movements mean to convey that you are on the same side, allowing for the easy capture of the advance guard. Mower accepts and orders Colonel Sylvester Hill to take some back roads and capture the Confederates. In the dark of the night, pistol fire. But this isn't the beginning of a federal tragedy. This is the final words of the rebels. Hill and his Missouri men storm in, capturing the rebel regiment and the heavy guns. Vincent and a few others are able to escape, but it's a great victory at negligible or no Union losses. They captured 22 officers, 239 enlisted, 4 cannons with caissons, 92 small arms, and an ambulance. But the tangible results are the rebel loss of 32 artillery horses and around 125 cavalry horses. This means the loss of the rebel scouts. The secessionists are blind. Mower cannot follow up on his second victory of this campaign, with no reinforcements or reconnaissance. Still, this man is fantastic. As for a less impressive but still appreciated commander, General Frederick Steele, he, with his 8,500-man column, is supposed to occupy the attention of Major General Sterling Price. Coming down from Arkansas is called the Camden Expedition because its primary target is the second biggest city in the state. The 23rd sees minor skirmishing. The march continues, but is harassed daily. On the 24th, we get a glorious report from Admiral Porter, who claims that he has, since the start of the expedition, taken 2,000 bales of cotton, a good number of molasses and wool, all of which has either been sent to Union-controlled territory or destroyed. The rebel economy of Louisiana is already in shambles, and this doesn't help. The 25th sees Nathaniel, is this really the guy in charge? Banks arrive in Alexandria a week later and thoroughly exhausted after his long trek to the city, having to use his brain cell. Upon the end of his triumphant trudge, he is confronted with 2 problems. First, General Andrew J. Smith and Mower are required to be sent back to the Army of the Tennessee by mid-April. Second, the rivers are so low that the Mississippi River Squadron is unable to leave Alexandria. What will Banks do? Return to the regular timeline. The 20th is the anniversary of the Republican Party, so happy birthday! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Republicans. Happy birthday to you. But of the destruction and internal fighting of the Whig Party, likely the current Republican Party's unified right, the next day, President Lincoln signs an act of Congress allowing for Nevada, Colorado, to become states. Now this is a long way away since both are far from the population requirements. After signing the acts, our chief executive takes a train to New York to speak before the Working Men's Democratic Republican Association there.
Property is the fruit of labor. Property is desirable. It's a positive good in the world. That some should be rich shows that others may become rich, and hence, it's just encouragement to industry and enterprise.
He asks the men not to be violent in their work towards equal labor. Clearly, Old Abe doesn't want 2 insurrections. He returns to the White House and pens the following for an autograph album for a Sanity Fair.
I never knew a man who wished himself to be a slave. Consider if you know any good thing that no man desires for himself.
Well said, Lincoln. Well, it's promotion time. The first man being made is Major General Lewis Wallace, who takes over the Mill Department from Brigadier General Henry H. Lockwood. Now, this Lawless has been the central figure of controversy regarding his actions at Shiloh. Still, since the accusations against him are without merit or sense, I will say I favor this change, mostly because I know General Wallace and have not the slightest clue about Lockwood. Now for a real tragedy. Meade reorganizes the Army of the Potomac, having Major General Gouverneur K. Warren take over the 5th Corps. This isn't the sad part. The 1st and 3rd Corps are merged into the 2nd, 5th, and 6th. That means Sickles' Corps is no more. His loyal soldiers protest, but they fall on the deaf ears of their commander. Did Meade do this to spite Sickles? Or because of the reduced manpower after the 3 years of war? We can only speculate. Gotta be strong. And finally, on the 25th, Major General Alfred Pleasanton is shipped off to St. Louis, as replaced in command of the Cavalry Corps by Brigadier General David Gregg. First of all, Gregg should be promoted. A Brigadier General shouldn't command a corps. That's another way the cavalry and artillery get screwed over. As for the change, I like Pleasanton, and I like Gregg. Honestly, I see no benefit or detriment from this change. Let us now look at the Devil Rider Forest. As I said last week, he is raiding around Tennessee. The 24th has Nathan pillage Union City. On the 25th, he gets to Paducah. Union forces there are aided by 2 gunboats. When they hear the rebel approach, they fall back to their fort, greatly outnumbered. Now, General Forrest knows he can't take the defense, but that doesn't stop him from threatening war crimes. If I have to storm your works, you may expect no quarter. The Union calls his bluff, and the dejected Confederates haste to rummaging through the city, taking all the supplies they can. But for some, the thought of not being able to take the fort is too grave an insult. Some Kentucky cavalry charges the breastworks, to repulse in a bloody firefight, proving the thing which they found so insulting. Forrest chastises them and then pisses off. Now, the casualties for this battle are way off, in my opinion, either showing more Union loss than rebels, or them having an equal amount of suffering. Since the only fighting was a failed rebel charge that everyone agrees was costly, I'm apprehensive about these numbers. But the ones I trust most are 14 Union KIA and 36 WIA, for a total of 60. The rebels, a total of 60, coming from 11 KIA and 39 WIA. Do with that as you will. The 23rd has General-in-Chief Grant on a train back to DC. I swear, he's just traveling everywhere. On the 24th, he confers with Lincoln. He proposes an aggressive plan. The West should have Sherman pursue Johnson into the sea. Banks, after the Louisiana expedition, should turn sighted towards Mobile, Alabama, and cut off the Confederate southern coast. As for Meade, he should engage with Lee until the Army of Northern Virginia is only a memory in a history book. Unsurprisingly, Lincoln loves this plan. Sickles time! Yes! While the loss of the 3rd Corps under the tyrant Meade hurts our hero beyond anything else, that isn't the end of the Devil Dan. With the Historicus essay blasting Meade before all of America, he becomes irate, speaking angrily before the committee he believes betrayed him. Because they did. Prove the correctness of my previous assertion that I never for an instant had any idea of fighting anywhere but Gettysburg. Finding no support from the politicians, he turns to Assistant Adjutant General Edward Townsend, sending him a copy of Historicus's editorial. I cannot resist the belief that this letter was either written or dictated by Major General D.E. Sickles. Takes steps to ascertain whether Major General Sickles has authorized or endorsed this communication, and in the event of his replying in the affirmative, I have to request of the President of the United States a court of inquiry. The whole subject may be thoroughly investigated and the truth made known. This is ridiculous. Courts of inquiry aren't meant to be set up for personal squabbling and get a random article in a publication. Though Meade does have a deep hatred for the press. He arrested Thomas Cook, the most likely person to be Historicus, for writing that Lincoln was planning to dismiss him, a clear insult to the freedom of the press that I thoroughly enjoy. Now, President Lincoln and Secretary of War Edwin Stanton understand the excellence of the First Amendment, and, more importantly, that a court of inquiry would most likely embarrass everyone involved. No attention should be paid to such a person as Sickles. But for something more warm-hearted, let's look at Sickles' relationship with Ulysses. It's grand. They met back on the 9th at a dinner. He quickly took his seat at the dinner table at Willard's. A hearty, spontaneous cheer rose above the clatter of dishes and the trampling of servants. The eager guests crowded around the General Grant, who looked as if he would rather face a battery than a demonstration like this. Besieged by friends, even you must surrender, General. Yes, I have been surrendering, for 2 hours, until I have no arms left. The loyalty between these two friends will last until death, but for the ongoing Mage-Sickles clash, despite their pleasantry at a White House dinner, it is dirty, and will continue on to next week. That's where the week ends, and I warned you of the nonsensical actions of these past 7 days. From Banks' missteps to force empty threats. Seems like the warfare has become that of words. If it has, then surely Lincoln will win. But as it hasn't, we'll just look at Grant. His plan is ambitious, if not simple. But his aggressive nature has a reassuring presence, leading me to have faith that he can win. But that remains to be seen till next week. As you can tell, I am back in my, new, old set. I'm back in this set. But I just want to thank everyone for sticking with me through the St. Louis saga, through the Annapolis saga, through the Chicago saga. I've had a lot of sagas. But seriously, your support means the world to me. I'm so happy you guys enjoy what I do. I really do hope to see you next week.